Welcome to my hometown of Superior, Arizona. Welcome back to Arizona Barrio Stories, Latino USA TV. I'm your hostess, Angie Gomez-Byrd, and today we are in my hometown of Superior, Arizona. Please help me welcome my next guest, Beto Cervantes. Hi.
Buenos días. Buenos días.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Bien, bien. Thank you. Very good. Very good.
So my first question to you is, what is your earliest memory of growing up here in Superior, Arizona?
First grade, probably, in the first grade. And of course, we couldn't speak English. And they would punish us for speaking Spanish. You know? So consequently, we couldn't speak English, we couldn't speak Spanish, so we had to talk with our hands, you know?
Right. How did you guys communicate?
Well, anyway, it was a lot of fun growing up here in Superior. We had a lot of course, we didn't have TV, we didn't have phones, and our entertainment were the donkeys. They were the prospectors. They left a lot of donkeys, and they were in the forest, in Tanto National Forest. Anyway, and a lot of people had donkeys in Superior. We used to ride them all day long, all day long. Those were the original four-wheel drives, quads. They'd go everywhere, anywhere.
Right.
So we even used to take them to the movies and tie them down in the creek, hobble them, get out of the movies, get on, vámonos, all day long.
What side of town did you grow up in?
Oh, here in La Pinal, todo La Pinal.
I heard that was once called Mexican Town.
I never, well, yeah, I've heard those stories before, but it was all Mexicanos. We grew up with all the Mexicanos right there. We didn't even know there were black people, okay, because we're isolated, okay, and it took a village, like they say, to bring up people, and that's the way we were. Our fathers and our mothers and our friends, our mothers, and everybody took care of everybody else's kids. Okay.
So one big family.
Yes, if you were misbehaving, le voy a decir la Rosa que andaba. So they'll put the finger on you right away. And anyway, we grew up with all these beautiful families. There was a lot of music going on all the time, parties, and people were pretty comfortable. We didn't know what the outside world was going to go on. And we were always trying to make a nickel. We were a lot of guys that were shining shoes. There were about 16 bars downtown, and hey, I have a picture there that were shining shoes, and all day long. It used to be a dime to go into the theater, and with a quarter, man, you were rich right there, man. Let's go. You'd go in, get some popcorn, or soda, whatever. And other than that, like I said, we all stuck together in that barrio. It was just one of the first things that our mothers and fathers taught us was respect for the older generation. Buenos días, señora González, ¿cómo amaneció? Buenos días, señor Cárcamo, ¿cómo amaneció? Everybody was walking, of course, so you would meet him in the street, and you would, acknowledge them. You would acknowledge them. ¿Cómo está, señora Coronado? Okay. And the elementary school, like I said, we didn't know English, but we learned English very quickly because, boom, we go in the morning and say, good morning.
And what elementary school was that?
Roosevelt. I went to the Roosevelt, and the Harding was down here, and that was for the Mexicans and the Indians. And I don't know how I got trapped into the Roosevelt.
So there was some segregation going on.
Yeah. And so we went to the Roosevelt, and we could speak English, but we learned real quick, and we survived. And the barrio was just, hey, if you weren't from the barrio, what are you doing here? we control the area, no? Because that's where we were growing up, right there. It was I remember very, very well. I mean, on Fridays, they get paid every 2 weeks. They would get paid. And Fridays was the money-making day, man. All of us get our shoe shine boxes. We're ready. Let's hit the bars. We go to the bars and shine shoes and go home with a pocket full of quarters.
Right.
And dimes. But it was fun. And, you know, our sport, we played a lot of baseball in those days. Little League, Pony League. And like I say, when I grew up here at 19 years old, I was working at the smelter. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the mill, and then I went underground for about 3 years. And but my memories growing up here are just, I still reminisce. There's still people that grew up with me, and we always talk. Hey, remember this guy? Hey, remember that?
Sure.
Remember what we did over there? And yeah, but La Barrio was an interesting and vibrant place. Okay, we also knew they made tortillas every other day, and we knew where the tortillas were being made. So hey, let's go over to Señora González. She's making tortillas today, and we'd stand there, man. Yeah, they'd slap butter on one of them and get out of here. But we were there, you know. We knew when they were making tortillas. It was a fun time for me. It was a fun time for me.
What about some of the businesses that were around town at that time?
Hey, we had jewelry stores. We had clothing stores. We had 16 bars, of course. We had a lot of restaurants. The Triple X right here was one of the best places to eat. Best places to eat there at the Triple X. A lot of Arabs and Chinese. The China was one of the Chinese families that grew up in the barrio, right down in the barrio. They were right there, and their kids grew up with us.
Why do you think they came to Superior? Was it for jobs, for business?
In those days, they knew that mining created wealth, and the Arabs, the Chinese, whoever, they would follow the miners. You know, so it's coming down. They know they needed clothes, they needed shoes, they needed, you know, I mean, they knew that they had a good paycheck every 2 weeks.
Sure.
And I think that's why they came. A lot of these our people, a lot of them came from Mexico because of the good paying jobs that were here, you know. And they stayed. And we grew up with their families. They became part of us too.
Sure.
You know, that was a little discrimination. But we really didn't get too much of it. The Anglos that grew up with us, they spoke Spanish.
Really? Did you teach them?
Well, of course. Well, they were hanging around with us.
Sure.
So they, you know, they picked it up. And so there were a lot of, like I say, there were a lot of Arabs, Czechoslovakians, and that. The Mexican Americans became the workforce for the mine. Okay. And the rest of the people kind of faded out. We're pretty good at taking, you know, when it's hot, then you got to work. So a lot of these people couldn't take the heat down there. The Mexicans were very potent down there. And I guess during the war, they didn't want to take a lot of miners because they were very valuable for the copper up here.
Was there a pay difference for race?
There was in the beginning, from what I hear. I never saw it, but they would pay $1 more to the Anglo than you. And this company was not a very, you know, it didn't treat this town very good. It never did a lot for our town, in my opinion. In my opinion. And they would pay the Anglo more, right? And then in 1958, something like that, the union came in. I remember the parade that from downtown when the union came in. It divided a lot of families, not a lot of families, but when the union came in, that's where a lot of safety started coming into the mines. And things got better for us. Things got better and safer. Hard work. I mean, the miners here took they wanted their families to have a better life. And a lot of it, families from the barrio, teachers, counselors, doctors, engineers, a lot of them got educated because they knew education was the key for their future.
Sure, absolutely.
And they didn't want their kids to go down there and do what they did. And of course, I got out of there in '71, and I graduated also from ASU. And I'm a teacher by profession and a community volunteer. So,
why do you think some of the regulations were put into mining? Were there accidents? Were there fatalities?
well, mija, mining is a very dangerous profession. And I can't describe to you how it is down there because the conditions down there are dangerous. You're up against Mother Nature.
Absolutely.
You never know what's going to happen. When they blasted, it cracked all the rock, no? So you had to go bar it down, get everything that's loose. But sometimes you would leave a little rock up there, but this big or something, and that could just snap your neck or whatever. I mean, anyway, dangerous conditions under there. When OSHA and MSHA came in, they put a stop to all that, to a lot of that. Sure. There were cave-ins also. And remember, you're working with heavy material, heavy machines. And there were a lot of cave-ins. A lot of people lost their lives down there. As a matter of fact, one time I was trying to get a list of all the people that had lost their lives down there. So I called the state mine inspector up there. And I got this girl and said, hey, my name is Beto Cervantes. I was wondering if you have a list of the miners that lost their lives down here. Well, she said, let me put you to somebody that can help you. So they transferred me. Hello. I said, this is Robert Cervantes from... Hey, Beto, ¿qué pasó? It was Rabago. He was working for the mine department down there. And I told him what I needed. I said, let me go down to the archives. And he did. He gave me a list. There was quite a few people that lost their lives down there. And the mine, I don't know. My brother got killed on mine property at 14 years old. He got electrocuted up there. And they came to my house. They gave my dad a $600 check, and that's it.
Wow.
For the funeral. And they were drinking. They were all in the kitchen. They were drinking, and this guy from the company came in, gave my dad $600 check for the funeral, and he signed the paper, and that's it. Se acabó.
No.
And that happened. People got killed, and
Sure.
the mine. Education was not in our favor. We didn't know. Okay. Anyway, all in all, here I am. I'm a community volunteer now, and I'm glad that I'm here in Superior. I lived down in the valley for about 15 years, but that wasn't my cup of tea.
And now you're back.
I've been back here since 89. What was it? About 80, 82, but
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, for your knowledge and your information. Beto Cervantes, we hope to see you again in the future.
Okay.
I'm Angie Gomez-Byrd with Arizona Barrio Stories, Latino USA TV from Superior, Arizona.